Welcome back to Connect the Dot. I'm Linda Kincaid coming to you live from Atlanta. We have more on our top story. 5 Americans who the US says were wrongfully detained for years in Iran are now in Qatar. Their flight from Tehran landed at the airport in Doha last hour. This video is showing them exiting the plane. Their release is part of a complex deal that involves the US freeing 5 detained Iranians and the transfer to Qatar of $6 billion in Iranian funds that had been frozen in accounts in South Korea. The Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson laid out the details of the financial transaction earlier.
We managed to get the frozen assets unblocked in South Korea. So this amount of funds of the Islamic Republic will be put at the disposal of the administration, and in proportion to our requirements, we will be spending that money. In relation to some other funds that we have elsewhere in the world, we will follow the same policy.
Well, Abbas Aslani is an Iranian journalist and joins me now live from Tehran. Good to have you with us. I want to start with that question as to the funds, because Iran says it will spend the unblocked funds based on the needs of the nation. It implies that the Raisi administration will spend the funds however it sees fit. But of course, part of the deal that the Americans, part of this deal was that these funds would only be used for humanitarian goods. So explain for us how this deal is playing out in Tehran.
Well, Linda, as Iranian officials have said, and as well as American officials, this amount of money will be used for non-sanctions goods and commodities. This can meet the Iranian needs, and that amount was not expected to be spent for, strange commodities or something else. And this is something Iran expected to have the access to that money in order to be able to spend it to buy commodities and goods which have not been under sanctions. So they have not been expecting any problem to happen in the course of the use of this money, and this is something which has been agreed by both sides.
Of course, we know that the US doesn't have diplomatic channels with Iran and that other countries helped negotiate this deal. Of course, we heard from the US as to whether this would be a reset of relations. I just want to play some sound right now. Just take a listen.
Does this mark this agreement? Do you see this, or should anyone see this? Is it marking as an unfreezing of relations with Iran in any way? Does this mark any change in the relationship?
Sadly, no. I mean, no. Look, we're still going to deal with Iran's destabilizing behaviors. We've added to the military presence in the Gulf region. We have continued to sanction Iran for other destabilizing activities. They're still providing drones to Russia, for instance. They're still posing a threat to maritime shipping in the Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to hold them accountable for all of that. I don't think we should look at this as some sort of confidence-building measure to a better relationship with Iran. Now, look, if Iran takes steps to stop their destabilizing behavior and to behave as a better actor in the region, all that's to the good. But we secured this deal simply to secure this deal, to get these 5 Americans home. It was not orchestrated as some way of a rapprochement.
Right now, we know that Raisi is in New York. The US President Biden is also in New York. Is there any chance, do you think, that the two would meet on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly?
Well, Linda, this was not expected, this agreement, to resolve other problems. That was mostly focused on a specific issue, which was releasing Iranian and American prisoners, as well as giving Iran access to its frozen money in South Korea. So also, the nuclear deal was not intended to resolve all problems. The point that the United States will be, reacting to this agreement by imposing further sanctions against some Iranian officials indicates and suggests that the Iran and US problems cannot go overnight and just by one click. And we cannot expect something serious to be happening between Iran and the United States directly in New York. However, let's not forget that this can contribute to a process where a positive atmosphere can be created in order to push other, let's say, this further discussions on other issues, including the nuclear negotiations as well as lifting Iran's sanctions. So, this can somehow, if not revive the nuclear deal itself, at least push the both sides in the direction of moving in order to fulfill some parts of the targets of the 2015 nuclear deal. Iran wants the lifting of the sanctions, and the United States wants to limit Iran's nuclear program. And I think this agreement, if it's not able to resolve all other problems, including the bilateral relations, which is non-existent, but it can help, resolve other issues and bring a kind of de-escalation between the two sides.
There is certainly some criticism here in the US from Republican lawmakers who say that the US conceded too much in this deal. The US getting back 5 prisoners, Iran getting 5 prisoners back too, but also this unfreezing of $6 billion in funds. From an Iranian perspective, do you think Iran got the better end of the deal?
Well, the prisoner swap is you can look at that from a humanitarian perspective, but the access to Iranian money, let's not forget that that's Iranian money, and it is not American money given to Tehran. It was Iranian money which was frozen in South Korea. It was the part of Iran's oil revenue, and it is not something extra given to Tehran, but its own money. As it was stated by the Secretary of State, a bit earlier. So that's why I think that's a kind of fair agreement.
Okay.
And
Abbas Al-Sani, you make some great points. We have to leave it there for now, but we do appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for joining us from Tehran.
Thank you, Linda. Good to be with you.
And thank you for joining us for Connect the World. I'm Linda Kincaid. One World with Issa Suarez is next.